Hey, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Internet Computer's chart and see what is happening in the short term. And a spoiler alert, I think we are getting very close to reach to our final low. But before we get into all that, at the beginning of the video, I want to talk about once more another comment from you guys that said, full disclosure, Chart X Crypto is a paid producer of ICP. Please do your own research. Okay, so here's the thing. I actually literally in the previous video before this thing explained to you guys that I'm not getting a single dollar from Definity, and I just do not understand why is it that some people do not watch the previous videos and just come out here and say things like this. Why are you so sure? I just do not understand it. And let's be honest, my channel is not really a sponsor friendly. Why? Because in it, ICP is not really the single topic. I talk about, let's say, 6 to 7 altcoin. And if I want to get sponsored by Definity, I should only and only make ICP videos. And number two, I should not talk about technical analysis. Why? Simple reason. What did we talk about in the previous videos? When we were right in here, the idea was that, look, in ICP, we are testing these levels way too many times, and odds are we are going to get a move down and basically clear all the lows and take the lowest one all the way down here, about $4.2. And do you think honestly that Definity is going to like me saying that, oh, okay, guess what, ICP is gonna go down big time and they are going to at the same time pay me? That just doesn't make any sense. And for that matter, that's actually one very important reason why the channels that are sponsored by Definity, number one, are not doing technical analysis, and number two, they are doing mostly ICP videos. However, in my channel, number one, I always do technical analysis because let's be honest, that's actually my main field of work. Number two, I talk about many altcoins, basically any altcoin that I want. So I don't really think that my channel is going to be a sponsor friendly, whether it's, for example, going to be from Definity that they are going to sponsor me, or maybe any other project. Maybe there is going to be a project that is going to pay me to do one and only one video. But other than that, yeah, okay, let's actually say maybe some exchanges are going to sponsor me. That's also, I think, a possibility. But again, other than that, I don't really see any sponsor opportunity in my channel. I'm sorry to tell you this, I am not getting paid by anybody. I just like the project. And for that matter, I'll be honest, I like a lot of other projects as well. I'm not really an ICP maxi. No, I like Algorand, I like XCN, I like ZBCN, I like Ethereum, I like XRP. I do a bit like Solana, but let's be honest, at the moment, the price action doesn't really look optimistic. The point is, ICP is not the only token that I am holding, okay? When I see something bearish, I'm going to call it. When I see something bullish, I'm absolutely going to call it. And so far, in terms of fundamentals, we definitely have positive news. But again, in terms of technical analysis and specifically the recent price action, we do have kind of bearish structures. And if I accept money, I'm not going to be at that point able to talk freely and say whatever I want. That's actually one very important reason that I don't really want to go that route. So I hope I made my point. And if you got any evidence suggesting that I'm getting paid by Definity, I will love it if you share it with the community, because I know I'm not getting paid. So if somebody is getting paid in my name, okay, share it with the community. Let us all know what is going on. Now, let's just move on. And by the way, I actually forgot to tell you this. I wanted to talk about this important metric, ICP burn tokens. And as you can see, this number is up. However, there's kind of a problem in here. And I do see a lot of people on Twitter talking about this. You see, when you go on this chart, where is it? Okay, apparently I am absolutely blind. Okay, there we go. When you go on cycle burn race chart, as you can see, we have just been burning less and less ICP, and I would say ever since the end of May, this decline has gotten accelerated quite a bit. So the question is, what is going on? Well, first things first, ICP burn token metrics has to go up every single day, because every single day we are going to have at least one more burn tokens relative to the previous video. So this is not necessarily the ideal metric for you to compare for example, September to August, in terms of whether the numbers are up or not. The numbers are always up, but if you pay attention to the delta, that actually has a very important story to tell you. You see, in August, we have burned about 130,000 ICP token. What about July? About 85k ICP. How about June? Around 112. How about May? As you can see, about 171. And if you pay attention to the previous months, you are going to fully understand that we have been recently burning less and less ICP tokens. In April, we burned over 197k ICP. In March, as you can see, we burned over 230,000 ICP. How about February? Over 288k. And pay attention. How about September? We have only burned 39,000 tokens. So this definitely does not look good. But the question is why, and is it actually something wrong with the whole network? I'm here to tell you probably not. You see, let me give you an example. Let's say you are a developer and you want to build something on ICP. Question for you, would you rather build your project right now or maybe wait a couple of months until you get access to Caffeine AI completely? Well, I don't know about you guys. If I am a developer, I'm just going to postpone the plan to after the launch of Caffeine AI. So here is what I have to tell you. You see, it seems like that in the last 3 months in ICP, the burning rate has been constantly decreasing, and that I believe is because of Caffeine AI. And I know it does sound a bit contradicting, but hear me out. I think at the moment, a lot of people are waiting for the launch, and then they are going to, with the help of Caffeine AI, build a lot of applications. And here is my suggestion. Just wait about 10 days until we get the full Caffeine AI experience. And at that point, let's pay full attention to ICP burned token metric. At that point, I think the number of the burned tokens are just going to increase more and more by the minute. And at that point, if they don't, okay, that is going to be a really, really bad situation for us. For now, I don't really think that we are having a whole lot to be worried about. So, let's just be patient for another 10 days. And then I think we can have a better conclusion of what is truly going on behind the scenes. Right now, my base assumption is that a lot of developers are waiting until they get the full experience. So in terms of fundamentals, I would like to argue we are still on the right direction. Now let's go on the live chart and see what is going on in the short term. Okay, here we are. And if we remember the last time that we talked about internet computer, we were, I think, right around this area. And we said, even according to the most generous scenario, most likely the bottom is not in yet, because that scenario suggests that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down to about here into a larger degree. You know what? Wave 3. And what are we going to have next? Probably correction for 4, followed by, unfortunately, another move down into wave 5. And as you can see, we got that move. And now I'm actually going to change some counts a bit. And by the way, I actually forgot to tell you this. You see, one very, very important reason for why in the previous video, when we were around the lows, sure, but the lowest low wasn't taken yet. So we said, you know what, we are going to continue our move down. And as you can see, if we just do this, yep, we absolutely now took the lows. But the question is, can we argue our move down is over? Well, even if our move down is over in ICP, I think you still need to be a bit more patient and careful. Why? Simple reason. If you are a regular viewer of the channel, at this point, I'm willing to bet you can already say what I'm about to say word to word. If you want to be bullish on any chart, you have to be able to find off of its lowest low a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this specific structure is called an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave, or wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. Now, here's a very important thought. Sometimes we can have other forms of 5 waves, and in this case, in ICP, you might say in like very, very short term, this is by the way on a 15-minute time frame, we may have something called a leading diagonal in form of a wedge, and that looks like this. This is our initial move up into wave 1, and it has to be the biggest wave. Correction for wave 2, another move up into wave 3 has to be a smaller than 1. Correction for 4, this is the key. unlike that impulsive structure that we talked about earlier, in here we must actually have overlapping of the waves between our wave 2 and 4, and this is our final move up into wave 5, which by the way has to be the smallest wave. Now let's go on the live chart, because I think I saw a tweet on Twitter that said maybe this is, excuse me, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, and since wave 5 is the smallest wave, wave 3 is smaller than wave 1 but at the same time bigger than 5, well, okay, maybe this is going to be a leading diagonal in form of a wedge. Unfortunately, I don't really think so, and the reason for why I don't think this is a wedge comes down to the subwaves. Answer me this: how exactly are you able to find from here to about this height a 5 wave if you want to say that this is actually our last leg up into wave 5? From my POV, this looks an awful lot like a beautiful ABC zigzag, so that 5 wave is definitely, in my view, not allowed. And also pay attention to what happened in this region. In my view, this is actually a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down. So here's what I'm about to tell you. Surprisingly, I actually do believe that in ICP we are going to have another move on the upside. However, at that point, be careful. You see, I believe that from the highs to about this point, this is an ABC down, followed by most likely a WXY on the upside, and this is a 5 wave down. So we may have the subwaves in here for an ABC, and as you can see, yep, it's actually in form of a running flat. And right away, a lot of you who understand Elliott waves are going to scream at me, look, we are not allowed to have a WXY into our B leg. You know what? That's fair. That's your opinion, okay? I have seen these structures play out so many times. So, you know what? I do like to be a bit comfortable with the rules and still call this thing an ABC running flat. And having said that, the overall results in here is not really going to be that different. You see, I believe in ICP, in the short term, we are having the subwaves for an ABC zigzag, which are going to look like this. 5 up into a correction for wave B, maybe ABC, maybe WXY, maybe even a triangle, and yet another 5 wave up into C. And if I just go on the live chart, okay, so here's the thing. I believe we can all agree that this is indeed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, followed by that this is a correction down. And well, in the short term, I do think makes perfect sense to expect maybe yet another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the upside in order to potentially complete the subwaves for, you know it, an ABC zigzag. Now, at this point, you might say, well, okay, can this thing be the subwaves for like a 1, 2, 3 and then correction for 4, another move up into wave 5? The answer is, yeah, actually, it can be the subwaves for that. However, if this scenario is playing out for our wave 3, we must have certain characteristics, and chief among them is the fact that this thing should end up being quite a strong move on the upside. So here is what I have to tell you. In ICP, in the next, probably I'm going to say 24 hours, we are going to most likely get another move up, but pay attention. If this ends up being not that much of a strong move on the upside, maybe it's going to be in terms of size similar to this one. At that point, odds of having an ABC zigzag as opposed to a 5 wave is just going to increase more and more. And just to be safe, let's wait a bit more at that point and see, are we going to have another move down in order to take this unbelievably important low around $4.06. If we do this, at that point, it is going to be confirmed that we are having an ABC zigzag, meaning what? Our move down in ICP is going to continue. And my final point, why do I believe that maybe we are going to continue this move down? That actually comes down to the subwaves and what is going on, let's say, even H1 timeframe. You see, I am not willing to say that in ICP, this was actually the end of this wave 5. I'm gonna say in ICP, this point was the end of our wave 3 now, followed by a correction for 4, another move down into wave 5. And guess what? I'm still going to stick with what I said in the previous video. This is going to be into a larger degree wave 3. And well, according to this count, what's next? Probably a correction for 4, followed by another move down into wave 5. And I also forgot to tell you one more important point. You see, right in here, in internet computer around the lows about $4, we really do not have a whole lot of strong support. The most important area in my view in the short term is from weekly and also daily time frame at the same time. So it does actually have quite a bit of validity, but it's going to be somewhere around the $3.9 region. So from my POV, makes perfect sense to argue, you know what, since we came all the way down here, why not go just a bit lower and confirm that we are having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and reach to about this support, because at that point I can be bullish with a bit more confidence and call for a very strong bounce back, hopefully in form of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 followed by a consolidation pattern. If I see something like this, trust me, right in here is going to be a beautiful long opportunity. And from my POV and in terms of what I'm doing with my portfolio, as we go down one by one, I am buying the dip in ICP because my average purchase is somewhere around the $4.5 area. So you know what, anything under that number is absolutely welcome from my POV, because in my view these prices most likely not really going to stay here for that long. So overall, I'm bullish, do not get me wrong. However, in the short term, I don't really mind if we end up having another move down, and for the next 24 hours, all eyes on this structure and see how is this thing going to play out. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in internet computers price chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.